Well, with the Magic Hour, I'm your host, Paul Chappell. Today, I am reviewing Ad Astra, a Brad Pitt film starring Liv Tyler, who appears in the movie like 3 seconds. Okay, I kid. She appears in the movie maybe a total of a minute. Not very long, though. I'm not even exaggerating there. Tom Lee Jones is in this, playing an old crazy man who also happens to be an astronaut. Par for the course. We got a newcomer I've never heard of, Ruth Negga, has a bit part in this movie. And then there's Donald Sutherland, who also has a bit part in this movie. This is mainly a Brad Pitt all the time affair. And just in case you don't know what I'm doing with this no spoiler review, I don't reveal anything in the second or third act. I do give a bit away from the plot from the first act, but nothing you couldn't get from the trailers if you've seen them. So know that going into this review. I am just little light spoilers, but mostly nothing that will spoil the movie for you. So let's start off by going into a little bit of the plot. Brad Pitt plays an astronaut just like his daddy.
This is Major Roy McBride. I'm attempting to reach Dr. Clifford McBride. This is Dr. McBride's son. Dad, I'd like to see you again.
Clifford McBride went missing in space several years ago, I think 16 years into a mission to the edge of our solar system. He was on a mission to explore whether there was extraterrestrial life, because the theory is if he's at the end of the solar system, he could get very good photographs in space of all these different exoplanets and even some planets in our local solar system itself. So that's pretty much the whole plot. But at the beginning of the movie, there is something called the surge, some atmospheric disturbances that are threatening life on Earth. And Brad Pitt's character is called in, and he, of course, finds out that his father might be alive and that he had a secret mission that also might compromise the whole solar system and actually destroy life in the solar system. So they send Brad Pitt on a mission to retrieve and possibly rectify this situation that's happening at the edge of the solar system. So that's the basic plot. What did I like about the movie? Well, I have to say, I went into this movie thinking it was going to be like 2001: A Space Odyssey, or one of those recent 2001 Space Odyssey clones like Contact, or what's the other one, Interstellar. It was really nothing like that. For the most part, it was, they kind of stole the plot from Apocalypse Now, if you've seen that. You basically got this crazy guy at the edge of the universe, and they're sending another guy to track him down in this secret mission. And there was even one scene they totally ripped from Apocalypse Now, and I won't tell you what that is. Maybe when I review this with Curtis tomorrow, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But there was a scene in it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having a flashback to Apocalypse Now. But the movie had a lot more action than I thought it was going to have. I mean, there were some scenes in this movie. I can honestly say I have never seen something like this in any science fiction movie. There was you probably saw this in the trailers. There's a whole chase scene involving moon rovers. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And there was at least 3 more scenes after that were very unique. And I can't, oh my God, I'm dying to reveal these scenes. I'm dying to really talk about them. Like I said, I'll talk about them more in the review I do of Curtis tomorrow. But there were some great scenes, some fresh ideas I hadn't seen before in a science movie of this type. Science fiction movie of this type. So I really enjoyed that. What else did I like? Going back to the plot was solid. It's been done before. It was a good follow through. The whole premise of the movie pretty much set up the rest of the movie, so you didn't have to do a lot of thinking. I like that about this movie. Although I have to say, even though I said there's a lot of action, it was kind of a mix between, because I think most people go into a science fiction movie and there are one or two types of science fiction fans. They either the 2001 A Space Odyssey science fiction fans, somebody who likes their science fiction movies to be a little bit esoteric and have this overarching meaning about the whole universe. And then there's these other science fiction fans who just want to see shit get blown up. Okay? Those are your Star Wars fans. So what category would I put this movie? Well, it has a little bit of both. There's, like I said, there's a lot of action, but there's also some esoteric things that happen, and there's also some broader themes about our place in the universe, which I liked. So it had a little bit of both. So if you're one of those people, there's something for you, and there's something for all those other fans of the other science fiction genres, the Star Wars and whatnot. And if you're like me, I like both of those, so it was a double treat for me. So that's one thing I really enjoyed. The third thing is kind of a double-edged sword. There was a lot of world building, but they didn't slow down enough for you to get to really soak in it. And to give you an example of what I'm talking about, the whole cantina scene in Star Wars works because George Lucas was smart enough to slow down and show you all the different alien races drinking and laughing and having a good time. It had absolutely nothing to do with the plot of the movie, but it added so much. Even to this day, people talk about that scene. Well, I felt like this movie could have slowed down because you see in the movie that there are significant settlements on the moon and Mars, and you see hotels, and I think I even saw a glimpse of a mall, but they never slow down to show you how that works on the moon or Mars. So I was kind of disappointed in that. And also they have the space technology is advanced enough where they have you can take a commercial trip to the moon. So I like that sort of world building. They did pause a little bit of that when Brad Pitt, he goes to the little spaceport. They pause to show you a little bit of how they set up passengers to prepare for that trip. So I like that. But like I said, it was a double-edged sword. I wish they would have slowed down a little bit more and explored those themes, because I really didn't expect as much world building as that I got in this film. So what didn't I like about the film? Well, and this goes back into the world building. They never tell you how far in the future this movie happens. I got the feeling it was at least 100 to 200 years in the future. The problem I have with that is that none of the technology matched that time frame. In fact, if you've seen the movie The Martian, which I'm pretty sure takes place like maybe 30 years in the future, the stuff in The Martian movie look more advanced than what was in this movie. And like I said, it's something like 200 years into the future. So, I mean, that was just confusing to me. It was confusing to me that on the ships in this movie, they don't have an answer for the zero gravity. Everybody's just floating around as they do in the spacecrafts we have today. So I was kind of disappointed in that. Even in The Martian, they had a little spinning console or capsule that gave the astronauts artificial gravity, because when you're traveling to Mars like they do in the movie, you're going to need some artificial gravity. Your astronauts are going to come back not having any kind of bone mass or they're going to have atrophied muscles. So you need some kind of artificial gravity. And they had a solution for that in The Martian. So I really wish they had thought that through a little bit more. So that was the first thing I didn't like. I also felt that Brad Pitt was good in the movie, but they clung to the old trope about astronauts being unemotional, which is probably true, but I didn't think it really worked for this movie. I would have liked to seen him have a little bit more personality. I felt as it stands, anybody could have played his character and done a okay job. So that's just how low key the acting was in this movie, which kind of worked on one level. You don't want somebody running around like Tony Stark or something, saying a lot of ad libs and just, you know, being smart aleckly. Is that a word? Smart aleckly. I'm trying to think of the. You don't want somebody running around quipping all the time like a Tony Stark. That can get a little bit annoying in a serious movie like this. So I can understand why they went that way, but at the same time, I really wish they could have just added a little bit more, just a little bit more personality to Brad Pitt's character, because they spent $87 million on this film, and you really shouldn't get the feeling that anybody could have played the lead in this in a film that cost $87 million. I'm sure Brad Pitt is going to draw the ladies in and a lot of guys, quite frankly. But there it is. I didn't like that aspect of the film. Overall, what score would I give it? Well, I would give it a 3.5. It wasn't the greatest science fiction movie I've ever seen. It wasn't the worst science fiction movie I've ever seen. It had some solid plot, solid follow through, lots of action, some competent world building, but some, you know, as I said, some disappointing technology in the film. But overall, I liked it, but it could have been a little bit better. And that's pretty much all I got for today. That's Ad Astra. Go see it if you're a science fiction fan and you don't have a problem with the things I pointed out. But I'd like to thank my subscribers and encourage you, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, give me a comment, hit that alarm bell. Somebody just notified me that I need to tell people about that little bell. But go ahead and activate that bell if you want to get notified when I have a new episode up. But thank you for watching today, and I appreciate your support. And until next time, I will see you when I see you.